Hello people of YouTube. Today I thought I'd cover a very quick video looking at bushcraft knives, and particularly bushcraft knives which are around about the £50 sterling mark. Now there's a lot of them out there, and some of these would potentially be more than £50, but I'm thinking about how you could buy a knife now and what would be a high price knife and make it under £50 for yourself. So to just give you an example, here's the Enzo Trapper 95. Now if you're going to have this already made up and bought with the handle and sheath and just bought from a distributor, you'll be looking at about £90, maybe £105 depending on what material the handle is going to be in. But you can buy the blade blank for about £35. So it makes it a very affordable knife. Just to give you another quick example as well, is the Helle Viking. So the actual blade blank itself doesn't cost very much. For £20 you can get this basically sent to you, and you just make your own handle. So all of a sudden you got yourself a very high-end knife for very little money. This normally retails about £70 sterling. So those are the sort of kind of knives that we're going to be looking at, as well as some of the ones which you can just buy literally off the shelf. So today we're going to cover the production knives under £50, or £50 about. So you've seen two already. The next one, which is still available in many places, is the Condor Bushlore. So with all of these so far, and you'll probably see with the very final one as well, which is the RealSteel Bushcraft, these are all got Scandi grinds. Now for woodworking, Scandi grinds are absolutely fantastic, but let's just have a quick look at these up close and see what you think. So we'll go with the RealSteel Bushcraft. Now all of these have got about a 4-inch blade. It's just the sort of blade thicknesses that differ slightly, but not too much, and the steels. So this is the, as I say, the RealSteel Bushcraft. It's in D2 steel. If you've got some of the older versions, it would be in 440C stainless steel. But D2 steel is most definitely an upgrade. Really good. It's got a 3.5mm D2 steel blade thickness to the blade. It's got about a 4-inch handle with a generous lanyard tube. Red sort of micarta liners with a black micarta handle, or G10 handle actually, I think this one is. It looks like micarta, but sorry, it's actually G10. And it has kind of a slightly sort of convexed Scandi. And it lends itself very well to carving, and I'll show how some of these do some carving in a minute. Next one is the Helle Viking. So I'll just put my own handle in here. What I've done is actually sunk the rat-tailed tang into the actual handle itself. So I just had two split pieces of wood and then carved, and then compressed and used an epoxy. So this is a 4mm thick non-stainless. So this is a high carbon steel blade. I don't know if you can see on this. Try and keep really still. Can you just see that sort of slight yellowing going up the spine? Well, that is the harder steel encased by the softer mild steel. So this is a laminated steel blade. And again, it's about £20 for the actual blade itself, but if you want to buy it, it's about £70. Just cover the price of the RealSteel. At the time when I bought this, it was £40 sterling. You can still just about get these for about £50. They are going up though. So the next one is the Enzo. Now I said that the steels are slightly different, as well as the blade thicknesses. This again is a 3.5mm thick blade stock. So their Helle was 4mm, this is 3.5, and this has an M2 steel blade. Now this is a very, very high-end steel to use. And surprisingly enough, as a blade blank buying it, you're actually paying less than 01 in this steel blank at the moment. I got this from Moonraker Knives, and they're very good. So this was about £32.95, and is really, really nice blade. When we talk about sort of striking fire steels with these sort of knives, you would have to actually put a 90-degree bevel on this one. It's quite round. You will not be able to strike a fire steel with it. The same is for the Helle as well. You could put a 90-degree angle on it. It wasn't too bad. It was quite sharp, but because it's a laminated blade, the steel is so soft that it just won't strike a ferrocerium rod. No problem, of course, with the RealSteel. So the last one we got in this sort of lineup, so the £50 sort of bushcraft blades, of course, is the famous Condor Bushlore. In a previous video, that will be up if I haven't put it up already, I've talked about how I've actually modified the back of this blade as well. Now this blade is 1075, so it's an American type of carbon steel. It is, out of all of these, the second softest. The Helle is the softest, okay, with regards to the overall blade. Perhaps the hardest with regards to the actual lamination in comparing these two. But it is still a very workable blade. It works very, very well. I highly recommend it. So, a lot of these need a modification. The only one that doesn't need any modification and out of the box for the £50 where you can just literally use it is the RealSteel D2 blade. And this is great. So we'll just show you how this carves. Now this is a very hard piece of wood. This is ash. And I'm just literally touching this blade onto this wood. I mean, it holds an incredible edge, as you would expect with D2 steel. It's very good. Lovely curls there. So just have a look to see how the Helle is. Now the Helle is actually also very good, and it seems to lend itself very well for carving. You might need to touch up the blade though when you first get it. There you go. Slightly thicker curves, it's cutting a bit deeper, so you haven't got, the curls aren't as fine and wispy as so you would get with the RealSteel. But you can adjust the way that you carve these to get the fine shavings, but this is just the way it lent to carving straight away without really taking or paying too much attention to how the edge geometry is on the wood when I'm carving. So that's very good, but I had to modify the edge slightly as well, so you must remember that. Some of these don't necessarily come out of the box ready to go. The RealSteel was absolutely razor sharp. So this is one that perhaps most people have, and the Enzo Trapper 95. It is a very well made knife. It feels wonderful in the hand, and if you want to make your own handle, this is perhaps what most people would like to get. It shaves very well. All of these blades here will rust. It's only the RealSteel which is classed as a semi-stainless. Everything else will rust, you need to be careful of it. So I cut that one off a bit too quick. There you go. See, nice curls. Of course, the final of the four, which a lot of people have, is the Condor. Now this one looks the most like the Ray Mears Woodlaw. Lovely knife. It just lends itself so well to carving, this does. couple of those curls came off there. So those are some of the curls. I mean, they're all comparable between them. They all work very well. All of them would need a little bit of attention before you start to use them, as I say, again, except from the RealSteel. This is literally ready to go out of the box. So let's have a quick look at the sheaths. Now, with the Condors, you've got a fantastic sheath. I mean, this is really good. With 4mm thick leather, the price of that they were at, the Condors were definitely worth getting, because you could potentially spend about £20 just on the sheath alone, and then, you know, when they were £30, you were getting a knife for £10. That was great. I mean, absolutely amazing. Now you are actually thinking, with the higher prices, it sort of changes the game a little bit. So again, the sheath is lovely, it's really nice, but when you compare this knife, the RealSteel, with a Kydex sheath, you're actually wondering, you know, is this actually a better option for me at the price point? I mean, these two, as production knives with a case, that's, you know, you're looking at the £50 mark. And I would find it very difficult to tell the difference, which one I would want. So either if you want the classic look, with the 3mm thick stock, but the material isn't that great, or D2 steel. I mean, D2 steel, this is incredible price for this kind of steel. You've got a really nice Kydex sheath. I've actually done a sort of carry option here for a neck knife on the back, but if you sort of discount that, you've got this really nice little Kydex loop, Kydex sheath, which just fits in beautifully, and it really just clicks in. Nice and good. I mean, if you shake it really hard, it will come out, but I love it. Pancake style design, works very good. But with few of you, you'll probably think, well, I'd actually like to make something. So if you're going to make a knife, I mean, these are two very good options and ways that you can do it. You can either have full tang blade blank, or you can have a rat tail tang blade blank. Again, this is about, with the Helle here, the Helle Viking, £20. It's really worth getting. It is definitely what I would class as a Mora upgrade. And you've got to bear in mind, Moras, they pretty much are made at a loss. The actual materials, the time, effort, price-cost ratio, they're incredible. And they are going up in price. So with a Helle, and when the Helles, they're pretty much semi-custom knives. They're partially handmade. There's very little work which is sort of automated in these production. I mean, these are hand sharpened, and it was razor sharp when I got it. And I've used it for various tasks, and it performs admirably, really does. The actual sort of polish which is on it isn't far off the factory polish that I got. I've just stropped it a bit, and it's good to go. So, if you want to have a little play around, £20, you can get yourself a really nice knife. About £32, if you have to buy the oak handles and pins, it sort of perhaps brings it up to about nearly £40. But £40, if you're going to make your own, it's not bad at all. And you can get very, very cheap, but quite serviceable sheaths just off eBay. This is about sort of £5, just a little leather sheath. Works really well for this knife. And it's a great little beater. So that kind of wraps up my sort of bushcraft knives of sort of £50. I mean, literally out of the box for £50, both of these are quite hard to beat. If you want to play, and you will be spending up to about £50 when you get a sheath, make a sheath, or when you make the handle, or if you're having to buy in the material to make the handle, these are also very good options. So it's really up to you what you want to do. As a knife, do you want to have the joy of making one and spending out relatively little, but you're spending a bit more time? Or would you like to actually just buy one ready to go? But bear in mind, as I said before, some of these have been modified. The only one that actually hasn't been modified is the RealSteel. So if you're going to light a ferrocerium rod, all of these will need work except this. Right, thank you for watching. I'll put some links to Henny Haynes Moonraker knives and pretty much anywhere else that you can buy these blade blanks and these actual knives for sale overall. I'll do another video soon going through perhaps what I class as the premium knives, and so look out for that. Anyway, thank you very much. See you later.